Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi Live Noding. In this episode, I'm gonna show you one crazy idea, just kind of using Sverchok nodes to trigger some kind of action based on marker. So I've probably have done something similar in the past using animation nodes, but I'll be using Sverchok for this. And in this case, the marker will trigger the light intensity. And yes, it's kind of useful if you're animating something and then you need to change the flash a lot, and you can just run the playback and then just trigger the light like that. Or you can also use it if you have like a music running and you want to quickly just add markers, and later on you can always adjust the marker and then just place it somewhere else, and then it will trigger the light. So in this case, it's just triggering the light. So let's get started. From empty scene, file, save as. This is sv trigger marker 001, and let's switch to compositing. Let's just have a little scene with Suzanne, and we had just point light, and we're gonna use the light. So everything should be, if I make the light 0, everything should be dark. So we're gonna control the energy using Sverchok. So let's get started, and we're gonna trigger using the marker. So it's, in this case, it's almost like kind of like a driver that you can set up, but it's I found it much easier using nodes, and you will see. So let's run the playback and then just tap M a couple of times. So we have a couple of markers, and let's see how we can read it inside Sverchok. So object selector, and I believe it's the scene, and then object ID set. So we get the scene, and then I think it's a timeline markers, and take a look. So there we have the timeline markers, and this is like a lot of markers, and so we use this notation to get all the markers. So we can see we have 5 markers, and from here I think we can get the name of the markers. So that's the name that Blender automatically created for us. There is also markers for we can get also the frame. So that's the frame number of the markers, and we can play around with this and change it around, and then Sverchok will update accordingly. The name is still remain the same. So now that we have this ability to see the frame, we can use some kind of comparison. So we're gonna compare frame number with some kind of logic. So if any of these lists match the current frame, it's gonna give true or false. So let's have a look. So false, 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 and if we are on top of the markers, we get true, just like that. And with this we can also we can already like trigger some kind of actions. So basically whenever it's true, we want to make the light energy turn white. So I think we can use list sum. So this basically false is like 0 in Python, and if you get a total of all the 0 or 1, whenever there is something that's true, this thing become 1. So with that in mind, we can already do something like this. compare a number, total number, and then 0. So if it's bigger than 0, then true. So whenever there is a marker, it's gonna give us true. Okay, so that's already kind of working. So now we can control this light. The light is actually energy, and then let's have a look. So that's point light energy. We can use object ID set for our point light. This is going to be data energy, and let's see, control it using float, and yep, seems to be working. So now if we plug this in there, playback, whenever it's hitting the marker, it's gonna get value of 1. Maybe we can multiply this value so it's a little bit brighter. So it's almost like kind of like a flashlight. You can also use some kind of random value. Let's actually use a random value if you like. So color in, this HSV, and it's gonna be a color. Oh, actually, energy is not a color. Energy is something different. We can choose random color. So this is a color of the point light. Color. Plug this in. So we get white. That's interesting. Data.color, no, it's a color. This color is just RGB. Just vector in. Or maybe the energy is too bright. Data lamps points dot color. Should be able to change the color. Object data dot color. There you go. Okay, so random number frame. This is for the seed, and this is for the float. Give a random color of hue. So now, whenever we hit this marker, it's gonna get different color. So let's have a look. Playback. So let's wait. Okay, we need to see the timeline. So let's make a couple of markers, and now let's check it out. There you go. Whenever there is a marker, we get this super random color. Okay, so that's cool. It is working fine, and it seems to be slow because I'm currently having this super collider running in the background. This is for a quick trick that I just learned earlier today. I'm gonna import this module called Foxdot. Foxdot is just like a reactive procedural music generator, similar to Sonic Pi, but it is all Python. This thing will send command into some super collider to generate some sound. So I can do something like this. Yeah, it's generating sound, but just a little bit slow. Maybe there's a delay as well. Let me try on this word blender. It's gonna play a random, kind of like a random sound. Whoa. So not working as planned. I'm gonna stop this. But anyhow, I can run it like in real time. I can have like a music in the background, and I can play back Blender. Whenever there's a beat that I like, I can type M and add a marker, and just keep doing that for the beat of the music. And once I've done with that, if we come back to it, we have this. And I think the next thing that we need to take care of is actually to keyframe it. Keyframing is like, if you want to do it by hand, like you can definitely do it this way. So that's a keyframe nicely placed. This is probably going to be 0 again. This is going to be 1. And it's going to be 0 again. This guy is going to be 0. So by doing that, you're going to get this kind of animation. So yeah, so that's just an idea. I think ideally, really, with this marker thing, I want to be able to time some kind of music and the beat, and then whenever there is like a beat, it will automatically create keyframe and maybe like make Susan jump whenever there is like a bit loud music. So it's more like some kind of triggering system, just like in game probably. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. Super Collider is a bit slow if I'm running this recording, but anyhow, I'll try that again at some point. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.